Hey everybody, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Saturday, September 12th of the year 2020, and this is my 36th FlossTube. So, welcome to you all. Welcome back to all of you returning viewers and subscribers. As always, thank you so much for your support, for continuing to come back every week and spend a little bit of time with me. I really appreciate it, especially because I know that, life gets busy, so the fact that you choose to spend, even if it's just 30-40 minutes with me, it's very much appreciated. I love hearing all your comments and everything, so thank you. I'll never get tired of saying thank you. But I also, of course, want to say a special welcome to anybody who's watching for the first time. I hope that you like what you see, and you decide to stick around and come back and subscribe if you like it that much. But also to continue to follow me on my stitching journey. These weekend videos are where I talk about my cross stitch plans and my cross stitch progress. I am filming Stitch with Me during the week. So far I've been able to keep up with doing them once a week. I don't know if that's going to keep happening, just because school just started back for me, so that has really sucked out a lot of my free time. But I'll definitely film them if and when I am able. But as of right now, this being Saturday video, I do want to talk about my stitching. So without further ado, let's get to it. When I left you last, I did mention that Full Coverage Fanatics, which is a Facebook group, was having an event called Confetti Conquistadors. So it was a non-counting event. You didn't have to count. I counted my stitches, but that's because I was using it for other challenge group tasks. But for the intents and purposes of this group, you didn't have to. It was just to motivate you to go ahead and tackle those confetti heavy areas that we always find. Well, not always, but we sometimes seem to find in our full coverage pieces. So for that event, I decided to keep going on my Disney Villains piece, which I've been working on a little bit more these last few weeks. So when I bought this PDF, it was split up into 4 pieces, but this was the product image. This was what I fell in love with, so I am going to be stitching it this way. And so right now I'm just focusing on the Evil Queen. I originally wanted to finish her by the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen because I've only just passed the halfway point and we're already in the middle September. So last video I did forget to mention my stats. Typically at the turn of every month I like to kind of just give that's how I work. I try to work based on how much I have to do in order to reach a goal. So if I were to want to reach that goal of finishing her by the end of the year, I would have to do 2,300 stitches each month. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but as it is, thanks to the Confetti Conquistadors event, I was able to finish her face. So super exciting, super inspiring as well. Like the event really motivated me to want to keep going, and now it's going to be a bit of block stitching because I'm doing her neck, so it's going to be a lot of black and 939, which is the really dark blue. But yeah, let's just, I don't know if that's going to focus real well, but last time you saw her, she barely had any eyes. She didn't have a nose. There was only like 5 stitches on her lips. Like, yeah, that event really helped. Pretty much, yeah, that before and after picture was really really neat, really cool to see. And again, it's going to be a little bit of block stitching now to do her neck, and I still have to do her dress. So there's still quite a bit to do, but at least I have a face. I'm very happy. So thank you, Anne, thank you, Kim, for organizing that event. So once that event was over, I was able to get back to my regular stitches or regular projects. I did pick up my Snow Girl again. This is my Tilton Crafts chart based on Daniel Korek's design, and I'm also using this for a full coverage Fanatic event called 20 and 20. So as the name implies, you're stitching 20,000 stitches in the year 2020. And last year I messed up. Last week I mentioned that I had like 1,000 stitches left to do. That is false. I was looking at my averages that I mentioned, and for whatever reason I decided to make my monthly average my total. So that was very false. I was able to do 500 stitches this week. Words. This is like my 5th take also, so I think that's why my brain is a little fuzzled. There's just been technical difficulties with my cell phone. Apparently I don't have that much storage left, so I have to go back, because I do keep my videos, so that's definitely it. I only erased them after like 2 or 3 weeks, so I just have to erase a couple of videos. I'm sure that'll be fine, but hopefully we'll get through this take with no issues. Point being is I did 500 stitches on this piece. Most of them obviously were in this area right here. I did start a color, which is actually 154, DMC 154, which is like a really dark purple. So I hope that when I put it next to like the dark reds, it'll look okay. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. But as it is, here we go. And there was some confetti stitches over here that were in that same color as well, so that was nice too, to get that area kind of cleared up. But once I finished those 500 stitches, I did finish both a ultimate stitching task of 4,000 stitches and a full coverage Fanatics National Park that are also 4,000 stitches each. So I'm very excited. But yeah, so if I do want to reach that goal of 20 and 20, then I have to stitch 11,000 stitches per month. And I mean, so far I've already done 1,000 stitches, and I'm still gonna keep going. I want to keep going on her, because I would like to get it done sooner rather than later. Like, even though it's 1,100 stitches per month, I would rather just go ahead and get that goal out of the way so I can focus on other goals. So who knows, maybe I'll be able to finish that 20 and 20 this month. Fingers crossed. Another piece that I focused on, which again I'm using for an ultimate stitching task and magical stitches and a full coverage Fanatics event, is my Moon Charmer piece by Heaven and Earth Designs based on Amy Stewart's artwork. And I'm doing the selected size version because I just saw that was smaller than the original, so that was really the only reason for it. But I'm using this for an event in full coverage Fanatics called the Tour de France, which is just like the actual event that actually happens in real life. We just have to stitch the number of kilometers that these athletes have to travel, and you could do as with the real event. There's like different levels, there's different categories. So I decided to go big and go home and do them all, which amounts to over 3,000 stitches. And the event it started on the 29th of August, which is when the actual event started, and it goes until the 20th of September, because again, it's all based on the real life event. But this is what I've done so far. Let me see if I can get that all in the frame. Here we go. And so lately I've just been focusing on the sky over here, and I'm trying to like hold it. I don't know. I'm like trying to hold it with my chin so I can extend it all and show you at the same time. But I've been mostly focusing on this area right here, as you can see. And I still had some of that filling in to do, but I kind of wanted a change, so I decided to go back to this lower half over here and start adding in the green, which you can't really see. It's a dark green. It's 500 DMC 500, which is a pine green. So I'm putting in the pine green on the pine trees. And, oh my goodness, I almost had a heart attack yesterday because I looked at the number of stitches that I had left to do for the black, because I did. So when I first did this page, I just did the black and moved on. I have over 60,000 stitches left to do in black alone for this piece. So once I realized that, I decided that my next course of action was going to be doing another page of black down here, just so I'm not leaving all the black for the last, not last minute, but just save it for last. Originally I was going to go ahead and just work all my way across the top, but I think I'll do another page of black first before moving on to the top. But yeah, 60,000 stitches. I feel like that's how many Hogwarts had. So yeah, I feel like that's how many I have at the beginning. I'll have to double check them. Maybe, I think it was like 60 or 70,000. The 70,000 seems like a lot, but it was a lot. So point being, this is just like Hogwarts apparently in terms of black stitches. So I don't know what it is about me and black. I always seem to pick black heavy stitches apparently, or projects. But anyway, those were the main focuses of the year. For Moon Charmer, my goal is to reach 50,000 stitches, but I'm only at 3,400 or 34,000. Once I finish the Tour de France, it'll be more like 35,000, but still that's 15,000 stitches left to do from now until the end of the year. According to my stats, that would be and this was I calculated these numbers before, like at the beginning of September, so take that for what you will. But I would have to do 4,500 stitches a month in order to go ahead and reach that goal. So the tour kind of helped, but I would still need to keep going even further beyond the tour in order to match what I need to do. So we'll see. If I don't hit 50k, then oh well, I'm not gonna cry about it. But I'm also, because I also want to work on other things as well. So we'll see how it goes. I did work on smaller pieces this month, or this week. Last week I did mention that I wanted to work on my Katrina piece, which is by Yanni Stitcher. So Mexican Independence Day is coming up this week. It's on the 16th. So I wanted to work on this one to kind of commemorate it, or celebrate it each month, or this month. And I really did try to stitch a little bit on it every day, but I could only do it for like 3 days, pretty much. And even then, it was only like 200 stitches. So the last time you saw it, I had only done the top of the forehead, or it is the forehead. The forehead of her face, of the face paint. And this week I just kind of did the side of her face and her chin. So now I just have to go back up, and I don't know how easy that is to see. Oh, that's kind of better. There we go. So yeah, I didn't get as much done on it as I wanted, obviously, but I'll keep working on it this month, and I will, obviously, I'll go ahead and stitch on this one on the 16th. But yeah, it was just kind of like sad reality check, just with, school is, I mean, it's only the second week, but it's university, so it kicks into full gear pretty fast. So so obviously I don't have as much time as I once did to stitch. But besides that, it is Sampler September, so I did keep going on my samplers. This week I picked up my 3 Things sampler by Moira Blackburn, which I started in mid-July. I saw this on a friend of mine's FlossTube, and I had to have it. I had to start it myself. But again, not that much stitching done. But I guess the good thing with samplers is that even a small amount of stitching makes a difference, just because it just, you know, you can just finish one motif and that makes a difference. So here's what I have so far. This week I did the A and the R, and I was able to do a little bit more of the green on the border, and this second little squiggle right here is actually the beginning of another line, like another motif over here. I think it's gonna be flowers. I forget what it's going to be. It's leaves. It's autumn leaves, so it's gonna be yellows and oranges and reds. But yeah, so ultimately, like what I want to do when it comes to the border is I want to make sure that I do the motifs that are immediately next to it, so that I can make sure that it lines up correctly. Because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to risk messing up. But yeah, first I'm gonna go ahead and finish all of this stitched area before moving on. But yeah, it was a nice break. Not that I obviously I love stitching on my full coverages, but this is a nice break. It's nice to see the 2,200 stitches, which is what that was. Yeah, so between the A and the R and the green over here, and there was like a little bit over here as well, but all of that was 200 stitches, and it made a difference, which, you know, that can't really be said with a lot of my full coverage pieces. And then if you did see my Stitch With Me that I filmed this week, then you'll have seen that I started a new sampler, which I do want to make a disclaimer and a public apology to Leanne, who invited me to stitch this along with her. Apparently she thought she was like forcing me to start something that I didn't necessarily want to start. I am more than glad. I'm always more than happy to start something with someone. And this beauty has been on my mind since it came out for market this year. There's a market release back in March. This is Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery, and it's beautiful. I love all those little flower motifs. So yeah, so I was more than happy to start it with her. And again, just a small start. I was really only able to stitch on it for my Stitch With Me. Again, I film in both English and Spanish, so between the two of them I did about 200 stitches as well. And yeah, it's just the border. There's going to be a little flower over here and another flower over here. But this was my start. I'm doing this on 18 count, so I don't really talk about fabric that much because most of my full coverage pieces are done on 18 count data. The 3 Things sampler that I just showed you is done on Cappuccino Froth, which is dyed by Fiona's Crafts Cottage, and that's a 14 count. And I'm doing this on 18 count Vintage Country Mocha. Yeah, Vintage Country Mocha. I got it from Fire Poppies. I believe it's from Yarn Tree originally, but I can't remember for sure. But as you can see, yeah, the lighting is just doing really weird things to it. It's a very light tan. It's a little bit darker than I originally intended. There we go. That kind of gives it a little bit a better sense. It's a little bit, I like to say it's a little bit mocha and not enough vintage, like or at least when I first got it. But it's still, I think it's still gonna look beautiful I did kind of do a floss toss to make sure, especially for those lighter colors, that they are going to show up well. And I think I won't have a problem. I think it'll be okay. It's a beautiful color. I really am really happy with the color. It was just yeah. I'd never used it before. It was just something that I saw on the product image, and then when I saw it, and and I'm sure it's, anytime you get a dyed piece of fabric, like, it's obviously never going to be exactly as pictured, because there's, it's always different with each time you dye any kind of fabric, because the dye even varies from Aida to linen to even weave. So maybe they just used, because I'm pretty sure, I think it's even weave that dyes lighter, or linen that dyes lighter. So who knows, maybe the product image was on linen and this just happened to dye darker. Whatever, tangent. Point being is, I'm still very happy with the fabric. It's still gonna work for this piece, and I'm thoroughly enjoying stitching on it. It's very nice and soft, so I have zero issues with it. But that is all that I stitched on this week. I'm still trying to get over, well, not get over the fact, but just kind of adjust to, or accept the fact, I should say, just accept the fact that I'm not going to be able to stitch as much as I used to, which means that, like as I was, writing down like what I stitched on this week to show you guys, I kind of realized, like, oh, I only have this much to show. Why? But it's still a ton. It's still a lot of progress, especially, and I think it was mostly because I did focus so much on like that one piece, the Moon Charmer piece, which so far I've done 2,300 stitches. I think last week I did 1,000 stitches, so this week I must have done 1,300 stitches, thereabouts. It's a ton. So yeah, so I'm trying to adjust, so I'm gonna go ahead and shift gears, just in case people aren't necessarily interested in plans. I am going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what's coming up next year. So if that's not necessarily anything of interest, then thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. But the wonderful admins at Full Coverage Fanatics did release the events for next year. So they're Kim Hollenbach of Spartan Stitcher on Instagram. She's here on FlossTube as Kim Hollenbach. You should definitely check her out because she's got amazing full coverage designs. And then there's Anne of Fiber Floss and Fiction. She too has incredible pieces. She's doing a chatelaine, and she's also doing Once Upon a Fairy Tale. But she also, so as the name implies, so Fiber Floss and Fiction. So she also knits. So she also shows off her knitting accomplishments. And she also she's an avid reader, so she also talks about the books that she read, either like that week or in the last 2 weeks, and she kind of gives her takes on it. So a lot of the books that I've read have come from Anne's recommendations. So so they're the admins for this Full Coverage Fanatics group, and they've announced the themes. So what they've done for next year is, well, first of all, they're bringing back the 20 and 20 challenge, except now it's going to be 21 and 21, which is great. I've already chosen my piece for it. So that's what I did. Like, that's why I got really excited. Like, Kim messaged me and let me know that the events were up, and so I just went crazy. I sat down. I sat down with my morning coffee and just planned out the pieces that I was gonna use for the events. What they're doing next year is they're combining the non-counting event that they did this year, which is the Around the World Challenge. So every month they focus on a different country, and the counting event obviously is the national parks. So what they're doing next year is every month they're going to feature a different genre of books, and for each genre they've picked 3 books, in which you have to stitch. They've taken the number of pages and multiplied it, I guess, by 10, is it? So if it's like 200 pages, you have to stitch 2,000 stitches. That's great. I'm taking a math class, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. Yes, so for each genre they've chosen 3 books, and you can stitch that amount of, the pages, but multiplied it. And so, you can stitch all 3. You can. So what I've done is, even though Kim has done the math, she's done the math and said that if you stitch all the books that they've chosen for each month, then you will have stitched, at the end of the year, you will have stitched over 140,000 stitches, which is insane. It's insane, because right now we're doing, the national parks is 100,000 stitches, and now it's like, no, it's gonna be way more. So what I'm doing is just because I don't want to overwhelm myself, I just picked the the thicker, the longer book in each category. So sometimes it means 2,000 stitches, but for the romance genre, Outlander's in there, that has over 800 pages, so it's over 8,000 stitches in just 1 month. So again, I'm not Kim's gonna go ham. She's amazing, and she's gonna go ahead and try to do all the books every month. But I'm just gonna start off with the first book, like the longest book, and then if I have time, I'll go ahead and do do the rest, do the other 2. Yeah. So every category, every month has a different genre of books, but then also they're going to bring back a lot of the weekend events and the monthly events that they did this year. So we're gonna kick off January with another round of bingo, which is super exciting. I love that event. And that's just amazing. Like, for me, that's like the best way to start the year. It's gonna really motivate me to just, get started on my goals. So I'm very excited, because again, they're just doing a bunch of different categories, genres. So you got romance, again, for Outlanders in there. You also have children's books. You have young adults, which Harry Potter's one of them. I didn't pick Harry Potter because that wasn't the longest book, but it's in there. And of course, I think I did pick Hogwarts for it though, because I can't not. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I got really excited, like writing down all the books that all the whips that I'm gonna use. So because of that, I'm gonna be focusing on full coverage Fanatics for next year. Magical Stitches and Enchanted Stitching and the Stitchy Quest haven't, Magical Stitches did release the theme, the books that are going to be the focus next year, which is the Percy Jackson series, but they haven't released details. So I'm hoping that they're going to have the year-long event that you can just work on throughout the year. So I can do those, because those are a little bit easier to adapt to, like, full coverage, because at least this year you were able to work on pretty much anything you wanted, for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 and 5,000 stitch increments, or chunks, using 500 stitch increments. But I'm hoping that there's something similar so that I can still work on it. If not, then I'll try to do the monthly ones, and at least. I don't think I'll do the weekly ones this time around, because what I found is that as much as I enjoyed doing the weekly challenges, it was really hard it's been really hard to accomplish a lot of my goals. So again, we're in the middle of September, and I'm looking at the goals that I wanted to reach, and I've reached some, of course, but I feel like I haven't reached enough for it being the time of the year that it is. Again, mid-September. So for the remainder of this year, I'll go ahead and shift gears. I'll keep going on the year-long tasks for magical stitches and enchanted stitching as well, so that I can then go ahead and try to reach as many goals as possible. So again, the first one up is finishing up the 20,000 stitches for Snow Girl, which I think I can. I'm sorry if you can hear that. My neighbors are out playing. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to mention was full coverage events, the full coverage Fanatics events. And if you are interested, I will go ahead and put a link to both the group, but on my description box. Anytime I mention anything, I always try to leave a link. But again, both Kim and Anne are here on FlossTube, so I will go ahead and leave a link for their channels below. They've each talked about it. So since I think Kim films on Mondays, I think Anne uploaded on Wednesday or Thursday. Point being is they both talked about the events in their videos. So if how I explained it isn't exactly making any sense, you can either go ahead and watch their videos, or you can just go ahead and go directly to the source, go to the events in Full Coverage Fanatics and check them out yourself. But yeah, again, I'm super excited because again, we have the month-long thing, and then the different events. Bingo, they're bringing back Confetti Conquistadors. I'm just really excited. So thank you again. I said it early in the video, but thank you Anne and Kim for such an amazing group. But yeah, that is it for me today. Again, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down on the video, or reach out to me via Instagram. I am answering questions on my Stitch With Me's for the most part, but if you don't watch my Stitch With Me's, or if I don't answer your question, feel free to go ahead and just repost, I guess, so I can get to it. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a good weekend, and you have a very productive week, and that you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, guys. Bye.